Okay, so I wanted to talk about the practical applications of availing oneself of the Heartfulness meditation system and the services by this volunteer organization, and what it is to do this practice, and for the people who started in January and February, what the next step is. So it was good to make contact with a trainer. If you live in a major American city or a city in Europe or wherever you are, it is highly likely that there'll be a trainer, a volunteer trainer in your city, and you can contact them. Again, there's links in the description box. The HeartSpots application, the HeartSpots app, is a way to find trainers, and it'll give you different trainers in your area, and you click on their name and you write something to them, and they will contact you. If they don't, just pick another trainer, or you can contact me and I can see if I can help connect you with these people. And again, this is a volunteer organization. The president of the system, Kamlesh Patel, is a successful businessman. He used to own 7 pharmacies, 6, maybe 5 pharmacies, I'm not sure, in New York City. And he is independently wealthy, as was the last president, Master Charji of the system. And the 2 former masters of the system, Lalaji and Babaji, both had jobs and worked as clerks. And they invited people into their homes, and all of the services of this system has always been free. So Kamlesh, for those videos he did and all these things, he does not receive any income, but actually donates his own personal resources and money and time into this work because it's rewarding. And these trainers, when they give these transmissions to people, they get 20% of it. 20% of it stays in their system. The third master charger used to joke that it's a 20% commission, and he used to be a salesman. He said, where else do you get a 20% commission? And so the people that do this work enjoy it, and they do it as a gift to God or as service to God. And so when you contact these people, you are receiving something, and you often feel like, coming from the American culture, why don't I have to pay for this or whatever? Why is this free? Well, because you're doing them a favor, because you're giving them an opportunity to serve God. And these people are going to be friendly and very hospitable. The Indian culture, they're just really hospitable people, very welcoming into your home. They treat people like, and this is not just from the heartfulness practice, but Indians in general. When you go to their country now, of course, Indians are becoming more Western and these types of things. But the traditional Indian culture, when they have a guest, the guest has been sent by God. And there's various teachings within their religions and their culture where being hospitable hosts is really something that's valued. And the other piece from this, for people coming from the American culture and coming from a Christian background, I want to talk about that also. If you contact a trainer and they are from an Indian background, and they may or may not have grown up in America, or they've been here for some period of time, but the Indian people I know are the most patriotic and pro-American people. They just love the American dream, because when you live in India, and I spent 3 years there, and the bureaucracy and the poverty and the difficulty in the system, a lot of corruption, and when you come to America and things just work, it's easy. The government works a lot better here than it does in India, and the services work and the roads are better. And so when Indians come here, they're just like a lot of people from various countries around the world. When they come here, they're just blown away at how easy life is in America, something we don't appreciate. So the trainer might be way more pro-American than I am and you are. And when you go for a sitting, when you receive this transmission in a face-to-face sitting, it's something that's probably going to feel a little bit odd, because if you haven't meditated with other people before, and you haven't meditated before. When I came into the system, I was 29 years old. I had done a few little New Age things here or there, and I had practiced my Catholic religion. My mother took me to some prayer meetings, and she used to have prayer meetings at our house. And I hadn't been practicing that religion, since I was about, in my teens, high school. And previous to that, I was 29 years old. In my late 20s, I was just a sports playing, beer drinking kind of guy. And so it was a little bit odd for me to come in, and you're sitting face to face with somebody. I mean, you're sitting across from somebody. There's some distance, 5 feet of distance between you, but you have your eyes closed, and they have their eyes closed, and you're meditating. So there is a new thing you're doing. You don't know this person. So when it first started out, this seems a little bit odd. And then in the group meditations, you sit in a group and you're all meditating, and that also takes some getting used to. There's people from all over the world. They have different political views. They have different cultural backgrounds. And so pretty much every type of person is represented in this organization. And the idea is that you share one thing in common, at least one thing in common, and that is a love for God and this transmission that you're receiving. And your hearts are similar. Even though your egos and personalities are different, you're all receiving the same transmission. And we call each other brothers and sisters in this organization. So people will address you as brother and sister. The younger people, in terms of the Indian culture, which has been carried over into the system, address you as aunt and uncle. Now, the third master of the system, in his last major talk, this is when he was dying he had multiple severe life-ending health issues going on, and he was in severe pain, but he gave this just brilliant and beautiful talk. And he talked about how the Sahajmarg system is not a reflection of any other religion. It's not a continuation of Hinduism or Sufism or Christianity or any of these other religions. It's something that's brand new. And it's not a religion at all. And that's something they talk about. This is spirituality. So whatever your religious background, whatever that you do, that's between you and God. And your personal beliefs or your political beliefs and all these things are not really a part of this. This is just strictly a system to help you get closer and connect to God through this transmission process and meditating on the idea of God's love in your heart. Now, for my Christian brothers and sisters, people that are wondering if there's some sort of a conflict here, and I've talked about this in previous videos. The second master of the system, Babaji, was an incredible medium, and he had these conversations with his spiritual master, Lalaji, who had died years earlier. And they had regular conversations, but he also had conversations with Krishna and Swami Vivekananda and Jesus and Buddha and other high developed spiritual souls that helped to shape this system. And he had a conversation. He had a lot of Christians coming to this organization. And so he intercommuned with Jesus, and he said, there's all these Christians coming here. Do I have your permission to impart spiritual training to them? And Jesus said yes, and he blessed this system. And so this was recorded by this guy, Babaji, in his diary, these various conversations. Some of these things are available in book form. But this is my understanding, this is my view, and the view of this system, is that this Heartfulness system is an extension of a continuum of all these other spiritual masters and saints and all these people that came before on this planet. Some of them we know, and some of them have started religions, but there's ancient people that are part of this as well. There's a continuum here of connecting human beings to God. These are the highly developed spiritual beings that came down here at a particular time to give the human beings something to get them closer to God. And this is a stepping stone. There'll be something after this system. There'll be many systems after this system. And there have been many systems before this system. But this is a good living system now that helps people to connect to God. And it respects and is a part of what they call the divine hierarchy and all these spiritual beings that came before. So in Sahajmarg, it isn't about either or. It's inclusiveness in the sense that all of these other religious movements are connected to this system in one way or another. And so then the masters, in this case, Krishna and Jesus and Buddha, in one way or another, are connected. But Buddhism is slightly different because it's the negation of self and not about connecting to God. So it's a different practice. It's not a godly based practice. People do evolve spiritually in Buddhism, but it's sort of a cold, loveless practice. And so it's a little bit different, but still this gentleman, this second master of the system, Babaji, had contact with Buddha, and had contact with these other spiritual masters who bless this system and are contributing and are connected on a conscious level. It's a way for people to connect to these spiritual beings as well. All right, so these are some thoughts. Again, people can write me at pocketsofthefuture@gmail.com, or you can send me a message in Pockets of the Future Facebook page, and the link for that is in the description box. So these are just a few thoughts, and everybody have a blessed day.